Hello and welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to learn about average function, everything in detail about the average function. So we are going to master this function. We'll see how it treats blanks, zeros, texts, errors, filtered rows, dates, times, and also how to do visible only and weighted averages. Okay, so these are the things that we are going to learn in this particular section. By the end, you'll know exactly which average you are calculating and why. So this is the task and this is the agenda of this particular session. Now, first let's learn about the syntax of writing an average. So I'll just zoom it so that you can see properly. So an average function, obviously you will always start with equal sign. You'll write average. And then you can put on your numbers. So I'm just typically writing it over here. Number 1, comma, number 2. Similarly, it will go on. Okay. Again, it can go on till 255 characters. So this is how your average will look like. Obviously, it will now show me an error because it does not have any values. Now, if I give certain values over here, okay, let's try writing some data. So I'll put some values like 30, 49, and real numbers. You can just simply try and practice. Okay. So we have our data set over here. And now I want to calculate the average of this series. So I'll just put equals average. Start with my brackets. Now, first method is always you can give your numbers manually. So you can write, let's say I want the average of 10, 20, 30, whatever numbers you want to give. You can just simply give your numbers. Put the bracket, close the bracket and just get the average. So how does the average is calculated? Average is calculated by adding the sum of the numbers divided by the total count. So if I gave 5 numbers over here, it will divide it by the count of these numbers, that is 5. First, it will sum 10, 20, 39, 40 and 50 and then divided by its count, that is 5. Okay, so that is what your average is calculated as. That is how your average is calculated as. Second, okay, one sec. All right. Second method, do your average, is simple by using your range. So I'll just put equals average, start my brackets and select the entire range that I want the average of. Close the brackets and you will get the average of this range that I selected, right? Now, if there are any empty cells, let's say I want to just include a more into the series and let's try another average. So equals average and I'll select this entire series. Okay. What will happen? Here, it included this blank space in the count. Okay. So what is the sum of these numbers? Let's see first. Equals sum. This is the sum that I got. And ideally, the average should be the count of the numbers that are present. That means 30, 49, 60, 3010, 30, 60 and 70. That means how many of these are there? 7 are there. But it also included my blank space. So if I divide this divided by, let's say 7 itself, the answer would be same. Okay. So that is what any empty cell, or if there is any text, it will not include those. All right. So this will be taken away. So that is what your average looks like. All right. Now, the next thing, if there is a text, let's say if there is no empty block, but there is a text over here, what happens to that text? The average still remains the same. Why? Because it also ignores your text. All right. So I hope this is clear. First and foremost, it returns the arithmetic mean, that is sum divided by the count. And the count is calculated by the number of cells that has a number value. Okay, so the count of cells that has a number in it. So that is how your average is calculated, it will ignore all your blank spaces. It will ignore all the text that are present. But suppose I remove this and I write 0. It will include the 0. Okay, so that means it is counting 0 as a number, and then it is giving me the arithmetic mean of this entire data. That means the sum of all the numbers that are present divided by 8 rather than 7. Am I clear? So here my 0 is included. If there is any number, obviously it will include. 0 is a number, so that is why it is getting included. If there is a date, let's say if there is 29th August 2025, what happens to this? It included that date also. If you see, the average has changed, even this has changed. Why? The reason being here is that it has included this entire date and then calculated the average. If there is a time, instead of this, if I give a time, let's say 9:20, it will include this time as well. Okay. So remember that in average, it will ignore what? Empty cells. It will ignore the texts, but it includes. What does it include? It includes zeros. It includes numbers. That is obvious for sure. Dates and time. Okay. These are this average will include no matter what. All right. Now, if there is no numeric value, let's say there is no value over here, I'll just remove the entire data set that I've given. It will give me this error. Why? Because while calculating my average, it needs to have numeric values to get the arithmetic mean, and which is why this is showing me a division. Because what is happening here, there are no numbers. That means there is no sum. And if there is no sum, there is no number, and it is dividing by the count. Count means 7 or 8 cells, whatever number of count we have. Then obviously the answer would be an error, because we cannot divide that, isn't it? We cannot divide 0 by any count. So that is why it will always give me this error. Okay. Now, if there is any hidden or a filtered row, they will all be included. That we'll see in our video later. So this is a gist of what your average function looks like. Average always adds up the numeric value and divides it by how many numeric values there are. Okay. Blanks and texts are ignored, but zeros are always counted. All right. That is something that we should be aware of. Now, let's do some activities and let's see how average will behave in different places. All right. So I'm going to create a sample data. So let's say I create a sample data of student. We have math. We'll obviously give some math, science, English, scores. We're going to do that. Then we have science. And let's get the average over here. Okay. So we have 3 subjects and student names. So let's try some student names. We have Alex, we have Ben, and we have Chloe. These are the 3 students we have. I'll just randomly put some numbers over here. We are just going to create some data set. Okay, there you go. Now we have our data, and now we are going to create the average or calculate the average of this particular data set that we have. Okay, so in this cell, that is E2, I'm going to put my function. Let's start with writing our function average, and I'm going to take the average of D2 is to D2. That means entire this. Okay, entire. LX's average of all the 3 subjects. I got the average. Similarly, I'll just scroll it down. and it gives me the average of the other two students as well. Here, if you remember from our previous videos, we are using relative cell referencing. All right. So that is what is happening here. I'm getting the average of all the other students as well when I copy the cell down. All right. So it is actually averaging across the row for Alex. Similarly, it is doing for Ben, and similarly, it is doing for Chloe. All right. So that is one simple example of how average works. Now, if I have a column or a class average, like entire column's average, if I want to get, how can I get that and how can I do it? So let's see. To get the average of, let's say, this column B, what am I supposed to do? Here, I'll just simply put average. And now I want to get the average of math subject of the entire class. So I'm going to just select this. And I get the average, that is 77 for the entire class in the subject math. Okay. So this is your class average in math. You can do the same for English and for science as well. You can simply drag it down like we saw here, or you can manually type it as well. Okay. So now we have the average of a column to get the class mean per subject. Clear? So that is how your average works in columns and in rows as well. Now, let's just extend this data and work a bit around here. So to understand blanks and the zeros, okay, how is it going to treat blanks and how is it going to treat zeros? Now, for Ben, let's say in English, he didn't attend the test and it is a blank. That means it is 45. Instead of 45, it is a 0. So what's happening? My blanks, are they included or not? Did they include? Okay, so think about it, whether my blank was included in the average or not. Similarly, if I put a 0 over here, did the average score changed? Yes. Why? Because in the average score, it counted 0 and then gave me the number. All right. So that is how your blank and average, blank and zeros are treated. All right. We can also keep, we can also try with the text as well. Let's say here if I write, if the student didn't attend, all right, so I'm going to put any. That means he didn't attend itself, right? The average will again change to the average of these two students, that is 98 plus 89 divided by 2. Okay. But if in case I have a 0, it will add 98 plus 0 plus 89 divided by 3. So that is how it will treat this entire data set. Okay. So I would want you to compare it and see how is it working. All right. So this difference is huge in reporting, right? Blank doesn't mean 0. Blanks are always skipped, and zeros dilute the average because it changes the count value. Am I clear? Similarly, we also saw the text and the numbers. Now let's say instead of this data, let's try some other data. Okay, let's work around with some other data and let's see how the true numbers and not so true numbers are treated here. So I'm going to give labels and I'm going to give the values to it. Although we already saw how true numbers and text numbers are treated. This is a true number. Then I have a text number. That means there is a number, but it is in the form of a text and a true number. So here, in the values, I'll write 120, use double quotes and write 130. And again, I'll write 90. Some random numbers you can write. Now, you have the data and you see that this is the text number. How is it going to work? So again, if I take the average, equals average, and I get the range, complete range, what is it giving me? It is giving me the average of 120 plus 90. That becomes 210, and the average, that means divided by 2, which gives me 105. Okay. So that is how your average is calculated when there is a text. Am I clear? So average ignores the text completely, and most of the imported files will often carry the numbers as text, giving wrong means. So this is why you have to always work upon your data, cleaning the data and verifying it. Okay. Now there can be some fixing that we can do. We can always use some product, okay, which works in your MS 365 version. All right. Or you can also use a helper value, wherein you will be using equals value function to convert and then average the helper column. But then that is something that we are not looking for. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Also, there will be some other fixes that we will be learning when we learn the value function in detail. Now, how does the average function works with dates and mean date? Okay, that is also something that we need to see. Let's say I have the milestones of my company and the dates. Okay, so I have, let's say I'm kicking off my milestone on 01 August 2025. Then I have review meeting set up, and here I say 10th of August 2025. Again, it is in the date form, right? And then comes the handover. In the handover, let's say I'm going to write 19th of August 25. So I have the 3 dates. I have the 3 milestones with me. Now let's capture the average. So what I'm going to do is average of dates. What is it giving me? The average of the date would be 10th of August 2025. That means dates are numbers since, days since a start date. Okay. So 01 is your start date. So that is where it is going to start taking it as a number. And average returns the mid date point. That means whatever is the mid date between these 2 dates, between the first and the last date, it is going to give me the mid date of that particular point. Okay. This is usually handy for finding a central timeline date so that we can get a mid review scheduled or something like that. So this is how your average function works with dates and mean dates. All right. Similarly, how does it work in a time? Like if I have time duration. So let's say I'm going to give the tasks and the hours that we spend in a task. I'm going to write, let's say prep. So prep time, I'm taking 1 hour, 30 minutes. And there is recording time. In recording, I took 2 hours, 45 minutes. Then we have edit times. That is 3 hours, 15 minutes. Similarly, you can go on and go so forth. You can do it. Now I want to take an average. So equals average again. Select the entire range that you have. Once your range is selected, you can just enter and it will give me the average. So that means times are always fractions of a day. Okay. So now, since it is giving me an average time, if my hours are beyond, let's say 24 hours, I'll have to again go to the formatting and format it as hours and minutes. And that's how it will keep my total or averages readable even beyond 24 hours. If they are beyond 24 hours, they'll still be readable for me. Otherwise, it will not show me in the same formatting that I want to. Okay. And the answer will not be something that I would be able to understand what's going here. Okay. So we can customize this formatting so that the durations beyond 24th hour display correctly. Okay. That's also we can do. You'll learn more about it in the formatting videos. Now, visible only average. Okay. So for this, let's just create another set of data. We'll just quickly remove all of this. Okay, clear. Now, let's say I have region and I have the sales. We did the same for our sum function also, if you remember. I'm going to write east, I'm going to write west, I'm going to write south, I'm going to write south again, then east and east. Okay, let's get, and we can just simply write some numbers over here, 1,000, 100, whatever you feel like. Just to practice. Okay, now I have all of this. What I need to do is, I need to first get my average. So here, if I get my average of this entire data set that I have, entire range, this is what you will see, the average of the range that is given. Okay, now we'll just quickly filter. So I'll go to my region because I want to filter the region, and I'll see my sort and filter option in the home tab. Quickly go to this tab and click on filter, which applies filter on my region and in my sales row. Now I'll just select any region that I want and I'll press east and I'll press OK, which shows me the sales of east, but it does not change the entire average, similar to how it was with the sum function. All right, that means still averages all. It will still average the entire data even when the other rows are hidden. Okay, now if I want to only show the average of the visible rows, for that we'll simply do one thing, that is, here I'll write subtotal instead of average. I'll write subtotal. Now I start with my parenthesis and I'll write 1, comma, I'll select the entire range that I had. So first let me just add, 1 second, we'll have to close it. Yeah, let me just first add this, select all, okay, and then there we go, equals subtotal. And I'm gonna get the average of all of these rows. But remember, since I want the average of only the visible rows, so I'll put 1, comma, the average, like, the addition of all those rows. Now I'll enter. Since all of the rows are visible, I can see the average of all of the rows. But what if I select only one option, that is, let's say east or south or any other option? It will show me the average of only south. That means in my function subtotal, this 1 referred to as average, which ignores filtered out rows but includes manually hidden rows. Okay. And then the rest of it, the range will remain same, obviously. I can also do 101. So 101 here would mean it is average only, but it ignores filtered out rows and manually hidden rows both. So 1 is for filtered out rows, but it includes manually hidden rows. If you hide any row manually, it will still include it. But if you want to also ignore manually hidden rows, you will be using 101. Okay. So what is the gist of it? You can use subtotal 1 for filter aware averages and 101 which ignores manually hidden rows as well. Okay. So plain average will always include everything, like you can see over here, because it is showing me the entire ranges average, like you can see. Okay. Now, what if there is an error? So to do with an error, let's just try it out over here. Let's create some data set, NB, and I'm going to write, let's say, okay, there is error, and this is okay. And I have the data as 100, then I put an error, save the error typically, just I'll write some number over here again. Now, if I want to get the average, what will happen? If I say average and select all of which is applied, it gives me an error. That means here, whenever you're using simple average, it will return an error because there is an error in your data. To fix it, you can simply use your aggregate. I'll simply, just like how we did in our sum function, you can use your aggregate. You can write 1, 6 if you remember correctly, and then you can select the entire range that you have and then get the average. What happens with 1? 1 is average, like we know. And what is 6? 6 always ignores the errors. Same thing we did with our sum function also, wherein 6 ignored the errors, right? So I hope this is clear. So whenever your data has errors, average will break. Okay, so use aggregate or wrap values with if error, like we saw in the sum function video, to skip any kind of bad cells or errors driven cells. Okay. Now we learn a concept of weighted average. Now for the weighted average, let's just remove all of the data that is present. And let's say we have a course. We have the score of the course and we have the credits. Okay. Now let's start with course 1. We have course 1 that has the score of 85 and the credits are 3. Similarly, you'll go for course 2 in which the score is, let's say, 70 and the credits are, and let's go for a course 3. I think by this much data you will be able to understand. And the score is 92 and the credits are 4. Now this is my data set. We need to learn about weighted average, and it is the must know trick and must know function or technique. All right. First, what I'll do, I'll just do a simple average, which is wrong, because here what is happening, if I write average, equals average, select my data set, it gives me the average, which is wrong. Why? Because it does not consider any kind of credits. How to get the weighted average? To get the weighted average, you will simply use a function that is sum product equals sum product. You will start your parenthesis. You will select your range, comma, range which has the credits. Close the bracket, but also you will divide it by the sum of the credits, isn't it? So what I'm going to write, I'll write sum and select this range. So what is my average now? My average is 84.7. What is happening here? Because it is also considering my credits. So whenever items have weights, that means credits, it has quantities, it has hours, we will always use sum product divided by sum instead of simple average, because it can mislead the entire result. Okay. So here the formula that we are going to use, sum product divided by the sum. And how do you get the sum product? Sum product is always and always sum of scores, okay, sum of scores and the credits, and then it will multiply it by the credits. Okay, so it is going to actually product with each other and then divided by the sum of the credits to give you the credits. So that means what is happening here? 85 multiplied by 3, 70 multiplied by 2, 92 multiplied by 4, getting the sum of that data and then dividing it by the sum of these values, that is 3 plus 2 plus 4, which is 9. All right. So that is how your sum product is calculated. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Now, there can be some other ways also that you can do, just like how we could get different sheets sum. Across the sheets also we could do the sum. Similarly, you can do sum across the sheets. You can do average across the sheets as well. Okay. And this is the activity that I would like all of you to do. I want you to create the sheets from January to December. At one cell, let's say at cell C5, you are giving a number or a range of numbers. And then it has to be in the same manner throughout the sheets. And I want you to calculate the average of that. Okay. So to calculate the average, you will simply use your Jan to December sheets and then get the average of the required cell that we are looking for. Okay. So that is what I want you to do as a practice activity after this particular lesson, because we have already learned about this in the sum function video. Okay. So this is your activity for today's video. Just like sum, average supports 3D referencing. This is called 3D referencing. Remember that your sheet should be adjacent with same layout. The layout of the sheet should be absolutely same. Okay. So let's just have a quick recap of average function. So in the average function, blanks are ignored, zeros are counted, texts are ignored. Numbers stored as text will always give us wrong results until converted into a number. Errors break average. So instead of using average, you will use aggregate or if error. Also, any type of hidden rows or filtered rows, you will always use subtotal to get the answer of only visible rows. Okay. Then for weights, we will always use sum product divided by sum, but not the average, because we want to multiply the credits of the values to the scores as well, just like we could see it over here. Same thing will work for your quantities and same thing will work for hours and similarly for other things as well. So that is about it in this video. Once, now that the average is done, please review the video carefully. And now in the next video, we'll be learning about minimum and maximum function to find the extremes. And then we are going to see some other functions which are very, very useful. Also, I would want you to go through the course very nicely and very sincerely, because it covers most of the things that are not covered in any other video, because I'm covering end to end. So try to watch all the videos. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.